So, I mean, we're in 2022 now. Is 2022 a good year to start collecting LaserDisc? What do you reckon? Would you, maybe someone who out there who's never collected the format before, or maybe they've started a collection in general, what do you think 2022? Can you get a good price on LaserDisc now? Is it easy to find? What are your personal views on this?
Yeah, I would say yes and no. It's very tricky because you will have to do some research.
Right.
You know, you need to find out what the best players are. You need to check out which films will probably have laser rot and which ones won't.
Yeah.
You can go onto a website called LDDB, which is the LaserDisc database.
Right. Okay.
It's very similar. It's very similar to IMDb, where every release is listed. It's independently run.
Fantastic.
And the people within the community, they sort of log in and they can like tell you which releases are the best ones, which ones to avoid. So, like I said, you need to be careful of that. And again, with players, they are going to go wrong. The most recent ones are now over 20 years old, so you are going to run into technical issues. And the other issue has recently been is that a lot of people are starting to overvalue them a bit.
Right. Okay.
Because they sort of see it as this sort of retro thing. Because it's a laser disc, they think it's rare. It's not rare. It was mass produced. It was easily available back in the day. And people try and, charge a bit too much for them now.
Do you think like the lockdown has potentially, lockdown over the past 2 years or so, has that like contributed to it? Maybe like I see that in like the retro gaming space where a lot of people were thinking, let's get into retro gaming, and that's where the prices for a lot of these like 90s consoles went up in price, the early 2000s stuff. And would you say, do you reckon that could have played in a part to why LaserDisc is maybe a bit more expensive, maybe?
Quite possibly, because retro gaming has suffered massively with increased prices for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And I do feel that LaserDisc is not too far behind by that. But if you search hard enough, you will find people that just want to get rid of it. They're happy to have, a couple of quid for this, or they're willing to just get rid of it because they don't want it anymore. Because the majority of the films that I do have, they're not worth much. They're only worth between £5 to £10 realistically. And anything that's like a bit later on, like I was saying with James Bond or Phantom Menace, they might be worth a bit more because they were only released in Japan. And it's the same with Mission Impossible 2. That's another film I want to get on the format because it was, again, one of the last few big Hollywood movies that came out on that.
Yeah.
And again, people do charge a bit too much for it, but so I would say it kind of is, but isn't. And also you need to be prepared for storage issues as well, because they're not small. They are quite large.
This is what I was going to say. Like, where do you store them? Is it like, have you got like a certain area? Have you got like a cube, like an ottoman to put them in? Where do you store yours, Ben?
Yeah, they're all in the spare room, and they're in like the bottom shelf of a bookcase.
Right.
So they're not sort of because if you do stick them on a shelf, the shelf is going to sag if you have too many of them, because they are mighty heavy if you've got like a load of them sort of lined up together. So they're on the bottom, out of sight in a nice cool area, not directed to the sun and that. So yeah, storage. And like I said, not everyone has the storage space for them, so they are quite large. And as I said, some transfers are going to be good, others not so good. So people might be disappointed, thinking that it's going to look great, but it probably won't look great. And also when these are played on new TVs, some are going to look better than others. So it's a bit inconsistent.
Right.
If you're prepared to sort of look past the imperfections of it, you'll probably have a good time.
Yeah.
So it's
I think that's the important thing. Like, it's just like, I think it just enjoying it as well. The hobby of collecting these formats. Like, I think that's the best thing to do, and it's just like enjoy it, have fun with it all. Where do you collect mainly then, Ben? Is it are you going online, eBay, or in charity shops? Where's your main spots, and where have you found? Obviously, you said you've got like a majority from a certain seller. Where in general do you shop for these laser discs?
If I'm looking for something specific, it's always eBay. It's really the only place to look for. In terms of like the player and the job lots I got, it was basically through some Facebook groups, because people like to sort of share what they have, but they like to sell through it as well.
Right, I see.
And they're saying, I've got an entire collection, whoever wants this, message me, and I'll send whatever. So it's pretty much, the best place is probably through the Facebook groups and through eBay.
Yeah.
Charity shops, very few and far between. It's only been 2 occasions I've seen them.
Right, okay. Because once I got onto your videos, your awesome videos, buddy, I mean, it's one of those where I don't think I'd want to start a collection just for the sake of, the storage. I don't know where it's storing, but so if I see one in the wild, I'm going to buy it just for the pleasure of it. And I keep on looking in my local charity shops. since seeing your videos, and honestly, I look through the records because I think, you know, they're going to be thrown in with the records.
Sometimes they are.
Yeah, I've not seen one yet, and I swear the day I see one, I'm just gonna like jump out with excitement. I'm gonna ring you. I'm gonna be like, I found one, Ben. I found one. But it's I've never seen one in the wild. I mean, you seen? When was the last time you seen one in a charity shop?
It was actually a few months ago because a good friend tipped me off and said, "Hey, there's one in the charity shop where I live. You know, and it's about a half an hour drive from where I am."
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, there's a few in there. You know, just help yourself." And I looked, and it was a lot of the discs that were in there I already own. So sometimes you might run into the discs that you already own. So I picked up just one of them, and it was The Frighteners, starring Michael J. Fox, Peter Jackson film. I was like, I don't actually own that at all. So yeah, I'll pick that one up, £6. Yeah. As long as it's in good condition. I do look at the discs as well. I do take them out and check them to make sure there's no finger marks or scratches.
Yeah.
See what the sleeves are like. Sometimes the sleeves can be a bit battered sometimes. Yeah, they might have bend bits on them, or the corners might be battered. So yeah, as long as they're in good condition, then yeah, I'll still pick them up if they're cheap. Yeah, but they've got to be in good condition at least. Yeah.
So let's just end this on on one question. If you did not collect LaserDisc before now, would you start collecting, Ben? Would it be the year for you? Would you gut instinct? What do you say? Yes or no? Would you collect now this year, 2022?
Yeah, I would, because if I didn't do it back in 2019, I would still be feeling the same way now.
Yeah.
And since 2019, I've learned a lot. Understood a lot more now, and I just would be 3 years behind, really. Yeah. So yeah, had I not made the decision in 2019, I probably would have made the decision now, regardless of what's happened in the world. So yeah, I probably still would have jumped on it eventually. It was just at that point, I was thinking time is now, start getting them now. Brilliant. In 2019. Yeah.
Brilliant.